A good place to start, Senator Jason Esteves, we appreciate you making the time for the Georgia vote and 11 Alive, so thanks for coming over here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Let's start with this, the most obvious question. You have announced your candidacy for governor. Why do you want to be Georgia's next governor?
Well, because Georgians deserve better. When you think about the fact that Georgians are working harder than they have ever before, yet they, for so many, are still struggling. They deserve a governor that can tackle a lot of the issues that they're facing around housing, around health care, around education and investing in our children, and ensuring that we have a state that is investing in Georgians by supporting small business owners. So I am someone that will be focused on those kitchen table issues, and I will do it based on my personal experience and professional experience. I come from Columbus, Georgia, raised by two parents who did not go to college. My dad was an Army veteran, and both of them worked 2 to 3 jobs each just to make ends meet and to support my sister and I. But they instilled in me the value of hard work and making sure that I gave back to the community. And it is those values that I took with me into the classroom. And I taught middle school social studies. I taught 150 kids. They were amazing, smart, had dreams, just as willing to work hard, but because of where they lived, they did not have the same kinds of opportunities. And I felt that that was wrong and it was unfair. And I used that to motivate me to do the work that I did as a lawyer and as a school board member with Atlanta Public Schools, where I worked hard to tackle the challenges facing Atlanta families. And I made sure to direct more money to classrooms than ever before. And we did that, and we also made sure that teachers were getting the raises that they deserved. And because of that work, we were able to see record-breaking graduation rates. And even with all that, I realized that we were putting too many burdens on our teachers, on our school buildings, to tackle the issues that are facing our communities. So I went to the state Senate to tackle those issues. And I have focused on reducing costs for Georgians across this state, on making sure that we're keeping money in people's pockets, that hard-earned money that they are making, and that we're allowing them and giving them opportunities to grow that money. So my platform as Georgia's governor is to make sure that we're continuing to reduce costs and that we are keeping and growing the money in people's pockets so that they have the opportunity to thrive regardless of where they live in this state, regardless of who they are, and that their children have more opportunities than they had.
You said Georgia deserves better. Do you see Governor Brian Kemps' tenure as a failure?
Well, look, I think that there are a lot of things that have been left on the table. When you think about the fact that 70% of our children are not reading on grade level across this state, there's a lot that can be done there. When you look at the workforce shortages that we're having in healthcare, in housing, and technology and engineering, the Chamber of Commerce can tell you how many jobs are available. There's a lot of work that we can do around that. There's also work that we can do around healthcare, where you have 500,000 Georgians who don't have coverage, and that number will go up as we see the chaos coming out of Washington because of Elon Musk and Donald Trump. And then finally, when you look at housing, and you think about the high cost of rent and how hard it is to buy a home nowadays, there's a lot of work that the state can be doing to reduce the cost of housing. So I look forward to tackling those issues and making sure that Georgians across the state, regardless of where they live, have the opportunity to thrive.
You just used the word chaos. For anybody who got a chance to watch your campaign launch video,
Yeah.
Within the first 20 seconds of your campaign launch video, you referenced President Donald Trump. Do you see your candidacy as a rejection of President Trump?
I see my candidacy as a campaign for Georgia. I am focused on Georgians and the issues that they are facing. One of those issues that they're facing is the chaos coming out of Washington, D.C., and the work and the distractions that Donald Trump and Elon Musk are throwing our way. And Georgia needs a governor that can break through that noise, can fight through that noise, and really focus in on what really matters, which is us. It's Georgia. It's the hardworking people of this state. And I want to focus on those kitchen table issues that we talk about at night with our loved ones, focusing on education, focusing on housing, making sure that our education system is strong, and to make sure that we're investing in our small businesses and in our communities.
To get all that done, obviously you've got to win. Georgia has not had a Democratic governor in over two decades.
Yeah.
It's been more than 20 years since Georgia had a Democratic governor. How do you flip the script? How do you win?
Well, I win by making sure that I listen to the challenges that Georgians are facing, that I work hard and travel across this state to have those critical conversations, and to come up with those solutions that Georgians are looking for. At the end of the day, what Georgians want is someone who will put politics aside and come up with common sense solutions to the issues that we're facing each and every day. And I've done that my whole life, whether it's as a classroom teacher and seeing those children who deserved every opportunity that they wanted. I made sure to work hard each and every day to provide them with a great education. And on the school board, when I saw a school system that was broken by a cheating scandal, I worked hard to elevate and to raise the standards in the school system so that children could graduate at record-breaking numbers. And in the state Senate, I've continued that work, working across the aisle, working with my colleagues to tackle some of the biggest problems that we face in this state. And I'll continue to do that as governor.
This is an era of hyper-partisanship. You talk about common sense solutions, kitchen table issues. Do you think those solutions are hard to get to in an era that is so divided along partisan lines?
I think the solutions are there. The vast majority of us agree, Democrat or Republican, we know what the solutions are. What we need is leadership. We need a governor that can cut through all the noise, cut through the distractions, block out the politics, and focus on people. And that's what I plan on doing as governor, making sure that we don't get distracted by what's happening in Washington, we don't get distracted by the politics here at home, and that we focus on what matters the most, which is Georgians. Making sure that we're providing every Georgian in the state with the opportunity to thrive and putting everything else aside. I'm confident that if we focus on Georgians and we focus on the issues that we're facing each and every day, that we'll find common ground on a lot of the issues that we're facing.
You've laid out a lot of issues that are clearly important to you, talking about education, healthcare, among others that are top of mind for you. If you had to name your number one priority, if you had to say what the biggest problem facing Georgia is right now, what would you say?
I would say that it's the high cost of living in the state and the fact that Georgians need policies in place to reduce the cost of housing and the cost of health care and make sure that we have access to a great education system.
How do you do it?
We do it by rolling up our sleeves and working together to address those various issues. And we have the money. When you think about the fact that the governor claims we have $16 billion in money sitting in bank accounts, the fact that we have a $37 billion budget, we can solve these issues by working together and making sure that we're investing in the people of this great state. There are so many folks who are working hard. I think about people like my parents who would work 2 to 3 jobs just to make ends meet. We need to be making sure that those folks are receiving the tax credits and the benefits that they need so that they have those opportunities to put food on the table and to advance and live out their dreams. And we need to make sure that we have a strong public education system where 90% of children in Georgia attend, to ensure that those children are receiving a great education in our public schools, so that those children have better opportunities than what we receive. So there's a lot of work that we can do by working together, by blocking out the politics and focusing on what matters the most, which is hardworking Georgians.
There's obviously a lot that happened under the Gold Dome this session, as there always is. One main thrust of focus, and it was driven by Republican legislators, was issues about gender, transgender access to sports, and it was a carryover from a big theme we saw in the 2024 presidential election. Senate Bill 185 would largely ban state funding for gender-affirming care for transgender state inmates. You did not cast a vote on that bill in the Senate. Why not?
Well, look, I think this is another example of where Republican leadership in this state has prioritized politics over people. The reality is that when you have a state where 70% of your children are not reading on grade level by the time they reach 4th grade, when you have a state where over 500,000 Georgians don't have access to health insurance. When you have a state where foreign corporations are coming in and literally buying up entire neighborhoods, making it very expensive for Georgians to rent and to buy homes, that we should be focused on those issues. But instead of focusing on those issues, we spent precious legislative time. We only get 40 days of it. We spent precious legislative time on political issues, on ensuring that Republican leaders can bend the knee to Donald Trump. And I think that's wrong. I think what we should be focused on is putting the politics aside and actually tackling the issues that the vast majority of us face each and every day. And SB 185 does not do that.
Do you think, I know that there will be some viewers and some voters who hear your answer there, and some will agree with what you just said. Others, I'm sure, will say, yeah, but we would have liked to have seen you take a vote on it either way. Do you think it's the obligation of a state legislator to cast those tough votes, even on issues you're not excited to be voting about?
Yeah, I think it's a responsibility of the state legislature to make sure that we are reducing costs for Georgians across this state and tackling the issues that we actually face. And we have crises happening right now that are being wholly ignored by the state legislature and by Republican leadership in the state. And I find that to be wrong, and I will continue to stand up against those distractions and continue to focus on Georgians.
There is going to be a contested Democratic primary for the gubernatorial nomination, and there is going to be a very closely contested, very hotly contested general election in this state. What would be your message right now to any of your potential competitors?
Look, my message right now is that I'm focused on Georgians. I'm focused on hardworking people, folks who are working multiple jobs, just trying to get by. And I want them to know that my policy proposals, this campaign, is focused on making sure that everyone across this state has the opportunity to thrive and that their children have more opportunities than what they had. And we do that by tackling those issues that I've mentioned before. I am serious about looking at our public education system and investing and improving schools across the state. I want to make sure that we reduce housing costs, keep foreign corporations out of this state, and make sure that you can rent or buy a home in this state without having to worry about whether you can put food on your table. I want to make sure that our seniors have access to health care. And as a caregiver of a mother with late-stage Alzheimer's, I can tell you that our senior care is broken. And that senior care system is one that I want to make sure is improved so that our seniors who have worked hard their entire lives have the opportunity to grow old with the dignity, love, and respect that they deserve. So know that I will be a governor that is going to center our families and center the hardworking people of the state.
When you look around at the political landscape in our state and in our country right now, what keeps you up at night?
The divisiveness, the distractions, and at the end of the day, people care about their safety and ensuring that their family is healthy and that they have the opportunities that they deserve and that they can put food on the table and thrive. And by focusing in on the distractions, focusing in on the politics, focusing in on what divides us instead of what unites us, we get away from coming up with solutions to those problems. I am someone who wants to cut through the noise, cut through the divisiveness, and work together to find solutions to these very important issues that have kept so many of us back. And I feel like we can do it. And Georgia is primed to do it. I know that we have a state that for the last 20 years has been led by Republicans, but I think that folks welcome the opportunity to have different perspectives and have an honest conversation about how to solve these issues. And when you have multiple voices at the table, we can finally start to remove that political chaos that we've seen and actually focus on what really matters, which is our families.
I want to ask you a question about this. You jogged in my mind, and we'll wrap up shortly, but I think it's important, and I think some folks who watch this might be thinking it too. On one hand, you've been explicit in your disapproval of what you called the chaos coming out of Washington from Elon Musk and President Donald Trump. On the other hand, you're saying you want to be a candidate that moves beyond the divisiveness and is a bridge builder.
Yeah.
How do you do both of those things at once?
Yeah, look, it's building on what's been done, right? I can say that some of the things that they're doing in Washington, D.C. are not good. I can say that some of the stuff Republican leaders have done in this state have ignored some key issues. But I can also say that I can build on what's been done. I can build on some of the successes that we've had to give Georgians a better state. I think that too often in our politics today, we go with good and bad. Oftentimes there's somewhere in the middle. So if it feels like I'm somewhere in the middle, it's because that's the reality. And the reality is that Georgians have worked hard, but they want better. They want more. And I am a governor that can provide them that.
Let's end here. There's a lot of talk in political circles about how important the 2026 election cycle is. But there's always talk about how important the next election cycle is in the political world, going back ad infinitum. That said, when you look at 2026, what are the stakes of the race that you are entering?
Yeah, well, the stakes are high. With all the issues that we have facing us in this state that have been exacerbated by what's happening in Washington, D.C., we need a governor that can cut through all this political noise, all these distractions, and just solve problems. And we can't afford to have a leader who will live in the distraction and cause further distractions. So what I'm offering the people of this great state is a leader that will focus on solving the issues that we've faced for far too long. And I want to make sure that by the time I'm done being governor, that we've improved our education system and provided children with better opportunities than their parents had. I want to make sure that we've tackled housing and the high cost that it takes to rent or buy a home. I want to make sure that we've expanded health care and health insurance so that everyone gets the right of health care. And I want to make sure that we are investing in Georgians, making sure that regardless of where you live in this state, if you want to start or grow your business, that you can do so. And that this is a state that is truly the best place to live, to work, and to raise a family.
Senator, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.